We're good. We're good.
Cool.
All right. Yeah, Sixers. So here we are with my buddy, Randy Major. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, it was good, man.
Oh,
you look good.
You look phenomenal, which brings me to my first question. What are we doing with our hair? What is this?
Oh, man. It's a lot. It's a lot.
I like it.
It's at the point now where it touches my neck. And when I run or when I'm outside, I think somebody's attacking me every single time. Every time I turn around, it's really weird. I don't know.
And when was the last time you cut that? Because I think the last time we saw each other, you had a hawk. I think.
I'm gonna say
like 7 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. You had like 3 gray hairs the last time. That you saw. Yeah. I mean, it's probably been since the beginning of 2018.
Okay. Well, that's not bad. You're here.
Yeah. Letting them rock. It's a lot.
It's cool.
It's heavy. Cool. It's hot. I don't know how long it's going to last.
Yeah.
But it's 2020, so, you know.
How many people ask to touch it? All of them, right? Yeah. All of the people.
Oh, that would be all. Yeah. Yeah. All of the above. Yeah. At least some people ask, you know, and some people just touch.
That's courteous of them to ask. Yeah. But, you know, I want to...
so soft. What does that mean? I don't...
Have you thought about blowing it out?
No, because that's even hotter. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you can tell. There's a theme going on right now. I'm in the middle of summer with just pounds of hair on my head, and I'm trying to make it through. So that's why I got it up and high and tight now to get it off of my neck.
I love it. I love it. Well, I do want to thank you for doing this. You are the first guest. And as I said in the intro, which you did not hear and I have not recorded yet, but I'm going to, and I have written it kind of. I don't do everything last minute, but you were easily, without a doubt, the only person I wanted to kick this off with. I couldn't think of anybody else who would be in a better position than to talk music and talk Jawns and talk history, which I guess, of course, speaking history brings us to the beginning of this. Like, so tell me a little bit about growing up. I know you currently, and for as long as I've known you, lived in Westchester. Were you always a Westchester, PA guy?
Yeah, was born here, you know, been here since the 80s, man, and it's a fun area to grow up. It's safe-ish. It's, you know, it's less dangerous. It's fun. My peoples live around here, and, you know, I'm close to the Pike. I'm close to the travels. I'm close to the airport, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not home much. Well, I'm home much these days, but I'm usually not home, so it's a nice space to come back to.
Yeah, sure. So
people like.
So growing up, like, what kind of musical memories do you have as like a child? Like, what was playing in the house? Like,
oh my God, man. I feel like my crib was different than most people. Like, my parents very religious, so I was growing up with church on Sunday, Bible study on Tuesday, and like prayer night on Friday, and then on Saturday mornings it would be gospel music playing all afternoon on, you know, on the record player, man. And when that wasn't on, it was like you could get a little Stevie, you could get a little Isaac Hayes, you could get a little Sam Cooke when you got a little secular at the end there, you know, a lot of Motown. And my parents, they loved the classics, man.
Yeah,
it was before 64, 65, like, and it had a pop to it. That was their joint.
Now, they both sing, correct? Am I correct in that?
No. No. My mom can sing, but like my dad is terrible.
Really?
But he loves to sing. Yeah, he's awful. He's awful.
What about
Shout out to Dad.
What about instruments, though?
Nope.
No music. Really?
No.
It's interesting.
No.
So that's fascinating to me because just to catch the people in the audience listening to this up, your brother is a classically trained musician. You are a trained musician. So, like, did this come from church, or did this come like from just that music being in the household? What do you think was kind of the birth there?
I don't know, man. I mean, I'll tell you this. I don't know what got my brother into classical music and the violin, but since he was like 3 or 4, he knew what he wanted to do for the rest of his life, which is huge for him. And, I'm growing up watching my big brother do stuff, so of course I want to do it. And that's where it started for me, just watching my brother make awesome sounds with a violin in his hand, wanting to follow in his footsteps.
Did you?
I don't know what worked on him, but
Did you play any violin? Did you play any violin?
Yeah. I got away from it because I just wasn't as good as my brother. So, you listen to me practice in the house and you listen to him practice in the house. Eventually, I had to switch it up, man.
So also in this time as a child, it's really weird to do an interview like this with someone who I've known almost, I mean, not my whole life, but the good parts of my life, I guess, if you can call them good. The parts of us together were good, but the rest of life, maybe not. Who knows? But you're also an actor, so there is definitely like kind of a performance thing in here. When did the acting bug hit? Same time, or?
I'd say it's probably like high school.
Yeah,
like middle school, high school. You step on the stage the first time, and the crowd roars, and you do a good job, and you fall in love with it. You're a performer, man. You know that juice, bro. You feel the juice, you got a lot of juice, bro.
Yeah. So in high school, you're acting. Are you playing music at this time, or is kind of acting just the primary on stage and singing and stuff like that?
Like high school, I'm acting. I'm doing all the school plays, all the musicals, and then like I had a little garage band with my buddies on the street, and I was also playing in like orchestra as well.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
Like, I was always doing something.
So you also had that. When did that doo-wop group start with Henry and Kevin and Jay? When was that?
That was probably like my senior year, man. Yeah.
All right. So tell
too many, bro.
One too many. That's right. So tell these folks a little bit about that. How that came about.
Oh man, it was a bunch of bored dudes sitting around who all sang in chorus and all like to have an excuse to get out of the house and cause trouble. And, it was almost like one of those movies where you see dudes sitting around a street corner, like singing back in the day. Like, you remember the Rocky scene?
Yeah. Take it back.
Kind of like that. Like, as lame as that sounds, that's kind of what we were doing. There was like 8 or 9 of us, which made it one too many because that's way too many dudes to be sitting around the circle singing. But
yeah,
my buddy's mom she's like an acting agent. Shout out to Greer, and she heard us. She thought we were good, and she started to book us at like local talent shows, and like we were singing in the mall, and we were doing like Christmas concerts and stuff. We recorded a tape, man.
Really? Do you still have this tape?
I hope nobody has that tape.
Someone's got that tape.
Burn it immediately. I'm talking to you, Steve. Burn it.
I'm reaching out. I'm finding that tape. I'm digitizing it. We're making it happen. That's the MP3s. That's how we're doing it. No, that's fascinating. So, like, was there any thought of taking that somewhere after getting these booked gigs, or was it just kind of like, hey, this is just something we're doing and it's cool? Or
it was just it wasn't that serious. Like we're all just really friends. So if we're gonna hang out, we were gonna hang out regardless. But I think somebody had given the agent a contract or something.
Really?
And what are you gonna hand a bunch of 18-year-old dudes? It's gonna be like a crazy 360 deal that signs away your rights for the next 10 years and stuff. She was like, don't even read this thing. Get this out of here. But that was probably serious as God. Like half of us moved away to college at the end of that summer anyway. So,
Yeah. So,
but it was fun.
That's cool, man. So then you went to college at Indiana University of Pennsylvania. That is where we met. That's right. That's right. So it's funny. I literally have my IUP hats like 5 feet from me right here, like just a little not display, but they're out there proud,
Do you
represent.
have any IUP swag that has like, yo, Indiana Indians, like not a Crimson
No, no,
Hawk,
no,
like
no,
not a
no,
Silver Bear, like the old school, like somebody
no,
running around with a tuna, like with the headdress. Though that IUP, that was
no.
our IUP.
Not 95.
Offensive.
95. I saw that writing on the wall. I knew that was no, no, no. Actually, I think I do have a keychain around here somewhere that still has like the chief. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
how did you end up there? Was that the only place you were looking at, or was that
I applied for IUP because my guidance counselor said they didn't require an essay for admission, and they did not, and they accepted me, and it was the cheapest school that accepted me, and it was the best decision of my life.
Yeah. So it's really funny you say that because it's literally the only school I applied to. And I didn't even plan on going to college. Like my mentor for my career study told me that I couldn't use the new editing system if I didn't apply to a college. So I applied to IUP because that's where he went. And then that's how I ended up there for
Right.
for a decade. But
Right.
but yeah. So then we meet at parties at the Beast House, which was my apartment, I guess is what you would call that. We would have parties and a lot of people in a very tiny space, which
A lot of
anymore,
people.
yeah, which anymore, that many people in that kind of tiny space would completely make me freak out. With claustrophobia, but back then I wasn't. So like I remember seeing you around the parties and stuff like that. Do you remember how we kind of started playing at all? Because I have a memory that you literally signed us up for a show having never played before. And do you remember that the same way, or
I think that is exactly what happened, and I'm pretty sure I remember rehearsing with you that night in like a room because we were going to do a song that I hadn't heard and you had just written.
Yep.
And I didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened. And and I do remember it was a wildly inappropriate song, as I was known to write at the time. And I believe we performed it at an AIDS benefit. Is that correct?
Yeah, that sounds about. Yep, that was the one. That was the one.
Oh my God. And some of the guys from One Too Many were there too. And you guys performed.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's all similar. So like, why, so you signed us up. We had never played before. I had literally just written that song. I guess now what would that have been, like 25 years ago, something like that, right? That
that doesn't sound right to me.
20 years
now
ago?
You're making me 50. I don't know how many years you're going to add to me, bro.
So like 20 years ago.
I'm going to say probably like 20. Yeah.
Okay. So 20 years ago. So I know this is like going way far back and it's hard to remember yesterday, let alone 20 years ago. But so you sign us up. We hadn't rehearsed ever. We hadn't played together. And I had just written that song. Why did you do that?
Because you weren't gonna do the show, and you were like wishy-washy about doing the show. If you remember that part,
I
didn't want to do it. We had to get we had to get you on the list, had to get you in there, and I like the songs,
Yeah.
It's all making sense to me. I don't know what the problem is.
Well, no, it literally.
On this side.
It literally was one of the most important things that has ever happened in my life. So like, I'm thanking you for it. It's just so bizarre. Like looking back when I think about it, that like you were just like, all right, we've got an act that we've never done ever. So like at that point, well, we were like wrestling buddies, right? Like that's wrestling buddies, party buddies, and stuff like that. And then
we were actually pretty tight by then.
Okay,
we weren't like, it wasn't like grandma house 7 days a week. Nate's making bacon, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
yeah, you know, we always sit the dinner together at the hall, you know,
yeah, yeah. Oh,
always at
yeah.
the Beast House,
I guess I didn't mean that you were a
illegal
stranger.
pay-per-view. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think we were doing football. I think we were doing football Sundays by then too.
Yeah. So we, even though that was our first time playing together and all that, I seem to remember it probably differently than it was in real life. But I think that like we kind of stole the show. If I remember correctly, I think we were the best. And I'm just going to say that is a fact, and I don't need you to back that up. But I do remember like we got done playing that, and I thought to myself, like, oh, this shit works. Like it just works. Like the two of us together. Was it around that same time that you were kind of thinking the same thing? Like, because then we like started legitimately like, oh, we're a thing. We do this. This is what we do.
Yeah, I mean, it just clicked, man. It just worked. We had that natural chemistry, that rat-a-tat, you know.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. That
There was a certain panache, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Like it was
that,
all there.
It's true. And I do know from my end that like one of the reasons I had to be drugs kind of screaming into that was not that we didn't get along or anything like that. It was just like I at that time was like, hey man, I'm like in a band back home. I can't play with other people. That's like, it was like this weird kind of like, oh my God, I'm going to be cheating on Scott back home if I play with someone else. What will he think? And then like I went home, I think that break, and Scott was like, hey, I'm in this band, Stone Jack Ballers, and we're awesome and we're playing it. And I was like, oh yeah, right. Well, I'm in this band. So stuck it, you know, like farts on you, my guy. So like from that point on, I just remember like that was just the focus. Like we were just playing dumb gigs, opening up for people, a lot of covers. Do you remember I sadly could probably reach and grab it right now, but do you remember we got together that one day and we made the master list of songs that both you and I knew so that we could like unchecked be like, oh, you know Raspberry Beret? I know Raspberry Beret. Write it down. Like, and then there was like asterisks, Randy knows, asterisks, Nate knows. That list still exists.
The one that was in like 3 different handwritings and all stumbled together. Yeah.
Still have it.
That one.
I will post it in the notes of this podcast so that everyone can see how ridiculous I am as a hoarder. But no, so we started doing that. I can't remember exactly what our first like real show was, but it was definitely something at the 10, maybe like IUP Unplugged or something like that. Does that sound about right?
I feel like that was the second we were doing that thing in the 10, and I don't even think it was an unplugged thing. I think it was just like they gave us an hour or something.
Okay, yeah. And that started what I still think if we had YouTube at that time, which is weird because small flex, YouTube created by a guy from Indiana University, Pennsylvania, no big deal where we were at. But I remember one of our big things that everyone seemed to always love was the pop medley. We would do the pop medley at the end of every set. And like, I remember so many people coming up to us like, I can't believe you segued all those songs together. And that is literally the internet. Like we literally were the internet at that time, right? Like, yeah. So like,
yeah, I mean, we were ahead of our time, man.
So
we were trailblazers.
We were. We were leaders, not followers, if you will. So stupid. But no, like it was a fascinating time. And I think you are right. There was one before Unplugged because Unplugged is what we had to audition for. And that was what we wrote our first song together.
Would that be I'll Remember Us?
That would be I'll Remember Us. Yes, the brilliant acoustic ballad with key change and all.
Classic, baby, classic.
Do you remember staying up as late. Well, I mean, like every single time we recorded, we were up late for some stupid reason because we decided to go out and then do it afterwards. Like,
that's exactly, yeah, it was one reason. It was
yeah,
one reason why we were up late.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you remember sitting in the grandma house with the microphone hanging from the ceiling? Oh, one of my favorite memories, and I probably still have a tape somewhere of recording the solo, and like you didn't have a strap for the classical guitar, and I think I think at one point it like slid and hit the microphone or something like that. What's funny about that is, I've numerous times talked about what kind of hoarder I am, and I've been saving this for this moment. If you ever want to record again,
oh my God, that's it!
I still have the microphone, and I will gladly find a grandma house somewhere with a Florida room where we can hang this from the ceiling.
Oh my gosh, yeah, hanging right above, man.
Yeah.
I think we started recording at 3 a.m.
And
our good, alcohol breath voices ready to go. Yeah.
Oh, we sounded good. Oh, we were great. So like I remember that was the first time I personally had ever written a song with someone. Like I'd never done that before. I'd never I've done stuff where I've collaborated, and I've done stuff where, okay, now you jump on, and now this, that, and the other thing. But I had never done anything where it was literally like us sitting down, pad and paper, like, all right, well, what about this? Oh, that sounds good. What about this? Like, up until that point, what was like your songwriting process yourself? Because I'm pretty sure The Freak was already written by that point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a freak in the back.
Yeah. So was that something you had done before, or was that like a totally new?
Absolutely not, man. Yeah. Like it was so new to me, but at the same time, you and I just work well together. So it was probably awkward in a sense that, I didn't want to step on your toes. You didn't want to step on mine, but we didn't really have to worry about that once we got rolling.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, this comes next because that's what's here. And that's what we did.
That's exactly how I remember it as well. And it was really funny because like, I do remember like the first few lines, it was like, well, what if I said this? What do you think? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then, what if I said this? Okay. Yeah. Like it was a really organic experience. And it literally like, what did we write that in like 2 hours or something like that?
Yeah.
Maybe not even. And then we spent the rest of the night trying to record it in a microphone hanging from the ceiling. But
I remember like thinking at one point, like, well, where are we going to put the funny in? Like, is the third verse going to be about her getting run over by a truck, or like, is the funny part come in? And then it's like, well, no, let's just write a song.
Yeah. And we did it. And it was really good. Like, it was really good. And it is funny to think back because that was it, right? That was the only serious thing we ever did.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even other things that we did. So, like, after that, we had like Smalley's song. Big shout out to Brett Smalley, who maybe listens to this. I hope he listens to it. I hope somebody does.
He better.
Yeah. Maybe I'll tag him in it and make sure that he listens to it. But so we worked on Smalley's song. Tell me what you remember of that, like how that came about. Because I think Smalley talked to you first about us kind of putting music to something he had written, right?
Yeah, Smalley had written this beautiful long poem, about some stuff that had happened to him in his past, and he was looking to have it put to music. And I told him I would talk to you about it, and I think I said something in passing, but I don't think it eventually got to, yo, man, let's really sit down and start to work on this song. I really want to do it, Smalley, Marumi, whatever, let's make it happen. And procrastination got the best of me, and then once you got involved, the two of us together procrastinated.
Yeah.
And then it was like Smalley's like, "Are you ever going to do this, man?" And he was hurt, he was upset,
Yeah.
and it's eventually we just sat down and hammered it out after a night,
Yeah.
a long night.
And then weirdly, we recorded a version of that song for Smalley, and he entered it into like a radio contest, right? And it like won and got airplay in like, that's like the craziest thing in the world. Like that was that was our pinnacle, was like this thing that we had procrastinated on. I know personally myself, like part of my own procrastination was like taking somebody else's stuff, specifically something that was so important and personal. I was just like, fuck, man, I'm the guy who does like dick and fart jokes over here. Like, how am I supposed to fucking put like emotion into something that was, but it really turned out something really fascinating and really amazing. And I was glad we did that.
Yeah. I didn't want to ruin my man's poem. Like that's,
Exactly. It was,
it's a failure to fly, man. I was worried.
It was heavy.
I was like, I know he's going to hate this.
Yeah. Speaking of Smalley, so I believe, again, correct me if I'm wrong. Look, my memory does weird things where like it tries to put things in where it's not supposed to be and stuff like that. But we named the band the Impact Players on a trip to Smalley's, wasn't it? Like, I think we were in Smalleyville. Where's Smalleyville?
Tioga?
Yeah, it sounds right. Yeah,
it sounds right. Up there. Up in the mountains. Up in the mountains with nowhere to go and four-wheeling everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, so we
I think you're right. I think we were driving up to see Smalley when we came up with the name.
Yeah. So Smalley plays an enormous as an enormous part in the history of this band. So if he doesn't listen, then I'm going to really be pissed off. So that's IUP. And then I left because I burnt out. I had been there for so long and they changed that curriculum and I was going to have to be there longer. And I was like, nah. And, right before, I mean, you
were there a really long time.
I was. But right before I left, and I only remember this because it was part of the week that I didn't sleep, we played the Rex Theater in Pittsburgh with Negative Vibe Merchant, wherever they are now. Shout out to them. But we played the Rex Theater and opened that up.
We opened the Rex Theater in Pittsburgh, bro. We reopened the Rex.
Which is crazy because like that's a big venue. And it was a big venue then, and we had 6 people there.
Were there 6?
There was. We brought 3.
Does that include the walk-in?
I was.
Okay. I was just
going to say, we brought in 3, and then 3 more people showed up, saw that no one was there, and immediately left. But we recorded that we got a soundboard recording of that. And I remember like I took that everywhere with me. When I would run into anybody, I'd be like, hey man, I made you a copy of the CD. Check out our stuff. This is the Impact Players Rex Theater. Do you like, what kind of memories do you have from that night? Like
live at the Rex? Oh
yeah.
My God. Who called?
Smalley.
Who was the phone call?
Smalley.
Smalley.
Again in this story.
Oh my gosh, he's like a third member, man. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. I have memories of that night. I remember getting to the show poorly.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Pittsburgh Directions getting the best of us.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember Ryan having girl trouble.
Yeah.
That's not saying much. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that probably happened. Yeah. I feel like you could interject that into any of our stories. What's up, Rye? Yeah, so then you were still there at IUP for what, like another year or two? I think you had like one more year after
probably
that.
Another year. Yeah, I guess you left and then we did another year. And then I got out of there. I was done my bid.
So that's one of the things that I remember is one of the first like nucleus falling outs that we had as a musical kind of force was that show that they offered us at the 10 that I couldn't make.
Oh, and you wouldn't come out.
I couldn't. I had to work.
I know. I was crushed, man. And I was so crushed because it was a printed ticket with our name on it. So, like, oh, man. We had to get out refunds. That one hurt.
Yeah.
Oh.
That like, I look back, that's one of those things where I'm like, I should have just quit. Like, I should have just quit my job and just gone and done it. Like, there's different moments in my life where I'm like, when I look at like the musical thing, career or whatever, and I'm like, oh, if I would have zagged here, if I would have just zagged here, like, I think that kind of motivation of like, look, it's us on a ticket stub, you know, like, could have been a driving factor. But so then you came home and we started playing again. We started playing like, I think we started playing at Appetites around then, right? Like, was that the beginning?
Yeah. I think I remember once I got back home, one of the first things I did, because there was at the time, there was a bunch of places to play, a bunch of venues in Westchester, and I took our CD and I took like a little bit of the Rex live stuff and a little bit of the album that I know you're gonna make me talk about, and I kind of turned it into just like a little demo reel and give it out everywhere. And everybody was like, "Oh no, you guys can! Oh no, we shan't have this in our restaurant. Absolutely not."
Yeah, that happened a lot.
From everybody.
That happened a lot back then. But I can't believe I skipped this. Without a doubt, I think one of the best performances we ever put on as an actual full band was when I came back up that last year you were there and we played the Boom Boom Room. Do you remember that? The Boom Boom Room show with Protoculture and
Boomerang?
Yes.
Oh my God, yeah, bro. Yeah. That show cost me a girl.
Ah.
Yeah. I was supposed to go and see, shout out to Beth. I was supposed to go and see Beth.
That's right.
She was up for that weekend. Like, she was up seeing her parents for that weekend. I was supposed to go see her. And I was like, the music, babe.
Yeah.
You gotta get the music.
Well, see that I mean, but that show was like, I think the first time I felt like we were actually appreciated. Like, I don't know if you feel the same. Like, you know, we would always play shows and we would always have like a good response. It's not like anybody would, you know, fucking boo us or anything like that. Like, people were always like, oh yeah, the funny guys. But like, I think musically, like, we fucking slammed people in the face that night. And I remember like, we had a very limited set time because we were like in the middle of the show. And I remember they were like, oh, you guys got to be done. And I remember we turned to the crowd and we were like, sorry, we got to be done. They said so, unless, I don't know, you guys want to say something. And I just remember the room exploding. And we essentially forced their hand and they had to let us play more music.
It was an eruption. I remember that. Night.
It was great. That was really great.
I also remember almost getting kicked out of Church Street rehearsing in the living room. With everybody set up in the living room, thumping and crushing and shaking walls.
Scott had his drums, right? In the living room, set up. Yeah.
Set up in the living room. Yeah, man.
That was crazy. So, you know, you had touched upon a little bit previously, but it is the 15th anniversary of the hip hop EP that we recorded, Our Dixie Wrecked, which, look, it's 2020. I'm not going to pretend like this is something that we're going to share with you guys, but there are things on there that I think are some of the best musical things I've ever been a part of. Like, just what kind of stuff do you remember? Like, how did that come about? Do you remember?
No, I do not. I remember you tracking. You were tracking like I think Get Me Some.
So
Or no, it was Booty Shake.
Booty Shake, yeah. We had I've been trying to piece this together. We had done a recording of Booty Shake because I had pirated a copy of Adobe Audition and was all about like, I was like, I have all these tracks. We can record everything by ourselves. I remember, so we did Booty Shake. And then like right around that same time, I was working with this program called like Hip Hop EJ Volume 5 or something like that. And then that's when I put the beat together for 2K4. Which was our anti-Bush politics song, which in retrospect is fucking funny that we were like, we got this. We're going to record. This is our political track. But I remember we tracked 2K4. And it actually got some spin too. Like I remember getting emails from people, early day, what now we would call a podcast, but then was like internet radio. I remember like getting emails from people like, do you mind if we play 2K4 on an internet radio show? And I'm like, fucking do it, you know, like, but yeah, so like, it was like, oh, we should do a hip hop album. Like, so it kind of brings me to like that was like kind of what we were listening. I mean, that was all we were listening to. And even when we played acoustic, our stuff had a hip hop tinge to it and kind of had that feel. What do you remember? Like now this is going to go kind of sidetrack back to history. What do you remember about like, what was the first hip hop you had heard? So like you know, it's you were talking about growing up, you know, a lot of classic soul, classic R&B, a lot of church songs and stuff like that. Where does hip hop come in this story?
Strangely enough, hip hop comes in with Michael Jackson. Dangerous was on sale at Sam Goody. It had just dropped. And, you know, when back in those days when, you know, you had an album and the record company would buy like, we'd have these big displays with all these albums were on sale, you know, and all the copies would fly off the shelves and everything. But then after like that first initial wave, people weren't out there copping it at that same frequency. So it was on sale. And I convinced my dad to buy Dangerous for me on CD. It was actually one of my first CDs. And he bought Dangerous. And then, you know, in the middle of Dangerous, there's a crazy rap on Jam. And it's like, oh, well, this hip hop stuff's fun. What's the hell is everybody so worried about? It's great.
Yeah.
You know, and it kind of, that's kind of where my hip hop lesson started. 16 bars on Michael Jackson's record.
That's awesome. That was Heavy D, right? Like,
yeah.
Heavy D lays that track. Yeah. So that's fascinating. Like, so like that plants the seed. Funny for me, almost as ridiculous. Like, my first experience with hip hop was, our car was in the shop and we got a rental car. And, when we got in the car and turned it on, the first thing I heard, somebody, I guess, who had ever had the tape or the car before, or whoever was servicing the car had left a cassette in the cassette player. And we started the car, and I remember being a little kid, and all of a sudden I heard, now Peter Piper picks peppers for Run Rap Ron, Humpty Dumpty fell down. And it fucking blew me away. Like, I was like, what is this? As soon as Jake comes scratching in, I was like, oh my God. Like, it was like a sonic explosion. It fucked me up. Like, it really fucked me up. And I was like, what is this? This is the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my life. So like, I got that tape and I wore that thing out. And that was like the birth of, so like, that's kind of where like, it's just funny that like, so like you're coming in on Heavy D, I'm coming in on Run DMC. Like, I'm just in my head kind of thinking about like our styles and the things we like. And it makes sense, like why we like what we like and stuff like that based off of that. So, at that point we're like, oh, we're just going to record a hip hop EP. Like, what kind of process were you looking at as you sat down to write that? Was that like, had you written like kind of hip hop bars before that, or?
I've written bars, but like I had never thought to myself, and now I shall rap.
Yeah,
You
sure.
know, it was just kind of like, I'm writing something, maybe it rhymes, maybe it doesn't. Maybe this will be a good spoken word thing. Maybe this I can use here or whatever. But when we actually sat down and you asked me to do, a verse on 2K, and I was like, oh, I guess I got to write bars. And at first it's difficult. It's daunting to try to, compete with the wordplay of, Cap Nish himself. Like, I couldn't come with some weak sauce, so I had to like really think about what I was trying to get down and convey, and just, make sure that I stuck with the beat and wrote the beat better than you.
Yeah, well, you did. And that's what...
in the sense of competition, if you will.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you say that, because like I remember, like, so we get together, just a little background on the process. Usually what would happen is we would come up with like a song idea, we would send each other a track, and then we would write our own verses, and then like we would meet to record, and that would be like the first time we would hear what each other's doing. And I remember like the first time I heard like your verse on 2K4, I was like, oh fuck, he's good. Like I was like it was like because I was like, oh, like I'm trying to do like funny shit. Like, like because I had to lay on the funny shit, because like I don't have a, like, I bring it up in that one song. I got a voice like a nerd, like my shit is just, it sounds like this, and there's nothing I can do. If I try to put a voice on, it sounds even more ridiculous. So like, I just had to lean into like what I want. But then like you come in and like, just your control and your flow like knocked me out. Like I was just like, fuck, man, fuck. But then I was like, oh shit, no, this will work, because like people will respect him as an MC, and then I'll come through and be like, I got you with these jokes, like it was like, but then you also started being funny, and then that really pissed me off. So we record 2K4, then we did the Freshness, and like I think somewhere around the Freshness is when it became like, oh, we're really doing this. We shot that dumb video as we were recording. And like, that was another one where like, there's lines you had in that song where I was like, oh my God, he's getting better. Like, and then like, I was like, oh, I can't just write dumb shit now. Like he's legitimately getting better. And then you started sending me beats, and I was like, fuck, his beats are better. Like it was. No, there's no question. There's no question the beat master is in this chemistry project, bro. I don't know, man.
Oh my gosh.
I remember
sitting down with FL Studio like, one?
Yeah.
Wait, what comes after one? Oh yes, two. That's the one that comes after.
Well, I remember getting Intra Zero, the intro, and I remember like it started with like it started with that MFSB beat, and I was like, and that was like it, like because I was like, because that's the kind of like that kind of old soul sample chopped. Like I was like, shit. Yeah. I was like, he got it, he nailed it, and I was again like just like no, and we recorded that. We recorded Jackets, and I remember I came like last minute with Give Up Yet, because like at that time, like I remember we just kept like, we were struggling to get gigs and stuff like that, and I was like just kind of burnt out with it. I was like, man, we're not going to do anything. Nothing's ever going to come of this. And then like, I think we like played like a show at Kildare's or something like that. And I was like, no, fuck this. We are doing this. We are good. And then, so I remember I'm like, yo, Randy, I wrote this song, and it's about how like, I'm not ready to give up. And it's like, just, I want like real shit from you. And then you wrote easily like the best verse I had ever like experienced on anything I had been on. Like, the stuff about like your father presiding over your funeral and stuff like that. Like I was just like, holy shit. And then I remember, so like you laid down your verse. I can't remember if it was before you laid down your verse or after that. Then you heard the chorus where I'm like, I'm not ready to get, like, it was like the dumbest, like, Like, I won model swinging from my dick. And like, it was like, and you were like, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, I really thought that like we were on the same page, that when I meant serious, I meant.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was after. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I got the beat. Yeah.
But yeah, 15 years that that has been around, and it still stands. Like I said, there's stuff on there that's just purely a sign of the time, and there's no excuse for it, and who cares? But like, it was an amazing experience to me, and I'm kind of shocked that that's all we did, because like that. There was stuff on there, and then I remember that was some other thing that started getting early internet hits. Like, that was my first YouTube upload, I think, was the Freshness video.
Freshness, yeah.
And we started seeing things from that. Like, I remember shortly after that is we played that open mic night at Kildare's and won the gig at Kildare's to be able to play our own show. We had the first annual only Jay Franklin Freedom concert in there, like
Jason on the Franklin Freedom Festival, baby. Absolutely.
Yes. So like, but that was like, and then like we would just continue to play like these little acoustic shows, and then that was it. That was the ballad of Nate and Randy. That was the story. But then you move on and you join Lost in Paris, and then this becomes like a phenomenal thing. Like, so that's got to be 16 years now, something like that.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Time flies.
This is my 16th summer, which is crazy.
So how did that come? How did that come about? Like, how did you meet up with that company to be able to get in that, or like were they kind of?
I was shout out to Blockbuster Video. Shout out to the Block. Rest in peace.
I forgot you worked at Blockbuster. I should have worn my Blockbuster.
I was working at the Block. I was managing, Blockbuster around my hometown or whatever. And, I would work during the day, hang out at night, do an open mic at a bar called 15 North. And one of the house drummers there was like, hey, man, pretty much starting a new band. We're looking for a little more talent in it. You want to come out and sing a couple songs for a night? And I brought out my guitar to one of their shows there. I think it was a Thursday or Friday night. And he was like, yo, do you know Raspberry Beret? Do you know, I think maybe Billie Jean or something like that? And I got up and sang the songs with him. And he was like, cool. Next show's on Sunday night in Philly. Be there around 8. Make sure, you know what I mean? And he picked me up. And I've been gigging ever since, man.
So around that time when you started, there was another singer, wasn't there? There was a female vocalist.
Oh, yeah. There's been a lot of changes. Yeah. We had a guy named Burns. Burns Weaver was doing it. Yeah.
Okay.
One of the most fun front guys you'll ever meet, man. Burns was amazing. Learned a lot from that guy.
So how long was that kind of shared stage with him? How long did that last? My memory is gone. So
it was like I'm gonna say like 5-6 months. I think I was in the band with Burns, and I was basically just playing rhythm guitar, chilling in the back, and doing a little couple 5-6 songs a night. And it was I wish I could go back to that.
I'm sure.
Those were the best days, when I could talk in the morning and I wasn't hoarse every day, and But Burns left the band in March. He wanted to settle down, do the family thing, and we got this other singer, a young lady by the name of I probably shouldn't say her name. She doesn't need any radio play right now, but she was a nightmare. And
okay, I was gonna say, why are we not saying her name? Oh, got you.
Yeah, she was an absolute nightmare. I'll say it. What, Janine? Yeah.
Your name's Janine. Your name's Janine.
It's Janine. Yeah, man. I mean, like Janine came in. She was touted with all this fanfare. She was supposed to be this lovely, beautiful, amazing voice, great personality, and she was going to take the band to the next level. And she comes in and she's a pill popping nightmare. Yeah. And she's
allegedly.
Yeah.
Alleged.
No, not alleged. No, okay. Oh yeah, you're right. My bad.
Allegedly. Right. Yeah. I'm trying to help you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. No, but so like I remember like it seemingly happened fast that it was like, okay, now you're the fucking guy. Like
Yeah, yeah, I'd
like
say so.
and it was like it really felt like overnight. Like I remember, I feel like I even like came to a show one time and was like, what happened to the chick? And you were like, oh yeah, she gone. And I was like, oh, it's just you? Oh, that's fucking crazy. I wish I would have known. But yeah, so like I don't know if you can hear my dogs fighting upstairs.
Of course.
But fantastic. This is a great podcast. So you know, so you start doing that. Like, I know it's primarily a cover act, but you guys did write and produce some songs. Like, tell me a little bit about how that came about. Like, was that like kind of something you had to push for, or was that something like they came to you like, hey, let's get some shit together? Or
When we got an influx of some new talent after a couple years together, and you know, shout out to Josh Allen, the homie. And Josh came in, and you know, he's an amazing songwriter, producer, and as well as a player and singer. And he just had a vast catalog of songs, from songs that were fully finished to ideas he had written down to demo type stuff to instrumentals that he hadn't put vocals on it yet. And he like showed it to us all, and it was like, well, let's work on some of this stuff. Let's get together and let's sign some stuff out. So there was one song that he basically had done, and I like sang on it. And then there was another track that I wrote, you know, lyrics and melody to, and we tracked that. And I think it went pretty well, but I think the process also showed how difficult it can be for five guys to sit in the room together and try to create and craft without stepping on each other's toes or arguing or getting passive aggressive as musicians do. But I'll always tout on the process that we had and the music that we created. I think we did some good stuff.
it was good stuff. Like, so I remember like you guys were actually like shopping that. Like, what kind of were you guys getting kind of hits on it? Were you getting any kind of like what was the nature of like how that went? Like,
I think that a lot of people were interested in the couple of the records, and I think that there was interest there, but I also don't know who was talking to those interested parties at the time.
sure.
So
Sure.
a lot of those conversations were happening that had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know what happened with them,
Yeah. So like,
to say the least.
so you guys, you know, you keep grinding, you keep playing. I remember like, again, like, and maybe it's just because of my lack of ability to pay attention to anything, but like then seemingly you guys were like straight up and down the East Coast. Like you were everywhere. You were like, oh, I'm flying to Daytona to go play down there. I'm up in Vermont this week. Oh, I'm in Boston. Like, what do you? Can you pinpoint kind of what happened that kind of tipped that to the next level from, you know, you were on the kind of local circuit and then all of a sudden you were like fucking everywhere?
I think we hooked up with the right agency that saw potential and saw new markets that could be opened up, and like a lot of different spots around the East Coast were just interested in like bands from not necessarily their area, and that kind of worked out for us. Like we built a huge following in Boston. Shout out to Boston. And we had a great spot down in Florida, you know, Virginia, that whole Delaware area, a lot of beach towns. It really clicked with those people, and you know, we got to go see the people, man. So
Yeah.
we hit the road. You know, it's a never-ending tour, bro.
It's awesome. Well, because of it being a never-ending tour, you fucked your throat up, right? Like you had to have you had to have surgery.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. At one point, it was getting to the point where people could notice that I was, you know, it was hurting. It was pretty bad. And I was looking at our schedule, and we had a whole bunch of weddings to play that year. This was about March that I got tested, and the doctor told me that I'm going to need surgery to fix my throat. So what we basically did is we kept going anyway, and we knocked out all those, those weddings and stuff. And then probably that next week, I went under the knife, and thankfully everything went well, and no problem since. So
So is that just now? Is that, do you think, or do you even know, is that just years of use, or is that like something specifically you were doing that you now hopefully avoid doing, or is that just like lack of warm-ups?
I think playing in bars, yelling around people probably obviously isn't the best way to perform. But as far as technique goes, I know I sing properly because that's how I was taught and that's what I know. Now, there's times when I'll yell or scream or something, and I'll tell everybody to get their hands up and probably raise the decibel a little too high. But when I'm using the pipes, I'm using them well. It's just when you're playing 200 shows a year, it's probably a little much.
Yeah, sure.
And
oh, go ahead.
I'd love to tell you that now that I'd love to tell you that now that I'm getting a little older and I'm going to tone it down, and I'll say that now. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
You're give me a call. You want to book it? You want to book a hit? Let me know.
You're a goddamn liar. I know it. So, like, what was that recovery like, though? Like, did you have concern that it was gone, or were you pretty confident that, like, you knew you'd be able to kind of get back to work?
I knew that the guy that did the surgery, shout out to Doc Johnson, I knew that he had done good work with other people that I knew and trusted and really relied on their opinion and their expertise. And the vocal coach I was put with pre and post surgery, after my first time in, my first session, just going through some warm ups and stuff, she's like, "Oh, you'll be fine."
Oh,
so that really alleviated me from what I was kind of worried about. And I can't say that my voice is the same post surgery, but there's nothing I can't do. So
sure. So what is that kind of, so like, what is Lost in Paris now during what is easily the most fucking insane thing I've ever experienced in my life? What is it like being in this band during the pandemic?
It's so wild, man. It's hard to describe to people what type of schedule I'd have right now if there wasn't a pandemic, and then when everything just slows down. Take out the fact that I'm not earning money right now, and leave that there. I just miss getting together with my friends and making music, man. So like my heart weighs heavy. Like, I just miss jamming out with my friends. But the first thing was, after like 6 to 8 weeks, and the state got after phase one, and people could, not congregate, but we were permitted to rehearse again. That's when stuff kind of just like, okay, now let's all just breathe, and we can get together, and we can jam, and we can find out where everybody's at, and we can begin to, tighten the screws again, and get back to doing what we love. And the wild thing is that we have a new member who came in beginning of February, and then 6 weeks in, we got to shut everything down. So he's learning our catalog, he's learning us, we're getting to know each other, and now we can't see each other for 8, 9, 10 weeks. So difficult to say the least, but we did it.
That's wild. That's wild. You guys put on an amazing stream. Speaking of, how can people find that stream? Because like that performance was fucking amazing. Like, tell these.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I'd say the best quality stream you're gonna find on it is Forward Theory Studios on YouTube. That's 4K. It's up. It sounds great. It was amazing job. Shout out to Joe Werner. Forward Theory Studios on YouTube, and you can also find it on our Facebook page at Lost in Paris, and we'll probably put some clips up there too. But we just thought, it'd been too long since our people had got to see our pretty faces, and we wanted to give ourselves an excuse to rock it out and get together. So, we got the full production, we got the full team, we did a full show. It was just a lot of fun.
That's awesome. So, are you still writing? Like, are you still writing, recording anything? Like, what are you working on now that you have all of this extra time?
Yeah, it's been really wild, man. I was trying to teach myself how to use Ableton Live because I don't know if you remember back 20 minutes ago when you mentioned Adobe Audition, and I was still doing most of my recording on that.
That's amazing.
Probably like it still works, man. What do you want me to do? So, I've been trying to work on that and just get figure out how to get my levels right and stuff. And I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment where I can't really make noise. So as nerdy as this sounds, I've been putting together instrumental tracks.
Okay.
I'm not going to call it jazz. I'm not going to say it's good. I've just been kind of jamming with myself and recording it and seeing if I'm getting better, seeing if I can apply different techniques, trying to figure out how to make decent drum loops.
Yeah.
As I cannot drum. So, putting crafting stuff like that together. It's been a fun process. It's a slow learning curve for me, but I've been doing a lot of that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'd love to hear some of that. So, where are you guys? Where are you guys at? Like right now, like you are playing shows out, right?
We are currently only playing at Bally's Beach Bar down in Atlantic City. Outside, everybody's socially distanced and masked and safe.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Safe as you can be in these trying times. But we're out there every Sunday afternoon in August from 2 to 6, hanging out, jamming with my boy, DJ Aiden Scott. Shout out to Aiden Scott. Yeah, man, we've been gigging sporadically, but, it's just been nice to get back to holding an instrument and being in front of a crowd and helping people have a good time in the midst of all of this. It's been cathartic for me for sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
Back on stage.
And I'm sure cathartic for the people in the audience, because if there is anyone that I've ever seen or that I know can make people feel good and make them forget the shitty nature of society at its current state, it is you. I fucking adore you, dude. You're like, I adore you. You know what I mean? I think you are easily my brother in arms, and I do thank you for doing this entire interview. But before we go, I have to hit you with 2 segments that are going to become a recurring theme. You get to be the very first person in the hot seat for the top 10. All right. So now, as you know, this whole experience that I've been putting on for the past, we'll say 6 months, even though I've really been working on this project for 3 years. I'm just, like you stated earlier, a enormous procrastinator. This is, we know this as, yo, that's my Jawn. Jawn, you of course know, is Philly slang for anything. So if I say Jawn in here, I'm not limiting it to music. It can be anything you want it to be. Anything. So, I don't want you to think too hard about some of these. But so, ladies and gentlemen, our very first top 10. Here we go. Randy, are you ready?
No.
Number 1. What was your first Jawn? What was the first thing you can remember as a kid that you became like methodically obsessed with? Transformers. I love it. I love it.
No doubt. No doubt.
All right. Right now, as of August, whatever date it is, what is your current Jawn?
Still Transformers.
The Netflix. Are you watching the Transformers Netflix series? Is that
bro? That joy was crazy, bro. I was like, yo, that joy was crazy. It blew me away, man.
Top 10 number 3. What was your first concert?
Oh man. Oh. Someone had just asked me this, and the answer was embarrassing, but I can't remember what the embarrassing, silly concert we went to was. I think it was either New Edition, Hootie and the Blowfish, or Aerosmith. Okay. It wasn't Aerosmith. It was Hootie, or it was It was Hootie. It's Hootie. Okay. It's Hootie. Yeah.
Okay. That's respectful. Yeah. That's respectful.
Yeah. Yeah. The pitch in your voice is saying it's not as respectful as you is.
Look, my first concert was David Bowie. I understand. Some people have good ones and others don't. Number 4 on the top 10. What was the last concert you went to? Which literally might be the last concert ever.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, man.
Yeah.
Just made me want to cry, bro. What did we go see last year? Oh, I saw Jay and Beck. On the Run tour. Yeah.
That's a fucking great way to go out. That is a great way to go out.
Incredible.
Number 5, what is your favorite concert you were ever at?
Probably, I'm gonna say Jay-Z and Kanye.
Ooh.
Yeah. That show was that was a little mind altering, man. That was something else.
Yeah, I can see that. That's tight.
No, you know what? I'm not even gonna go there. I gotta go to another level, dude. Glover.
Oh yeah? Gambino?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gambino had some visual things going on that it was something else, man.
That's what's up.
That guy's another level, dude.
That is what's up. Number 6, who is one person that you never got to see live that you would love to have seen? And now this could be
MJ.
Yeah, I didn't even have to precursor it. I had a feeling that was going to be the answer. Yeah. Number 7, name an unappreciated Jawn.
This is going to be a lot.
Okay.
But do you remember? All right.
Probably.
When Pharrell put down In My Mind, and then Quest and them got together, and they added the live performances to it, and they called it Pharrell Williams and the Yes Sirs, and it was Out of My Mind. Never released the album, and you can't find a good version of the album with lossless quality sound. That is the most unappreciated collection of music of all time. Like, it's probably one of my favorite albums of all time, and it never even was released.
I swear to God, I'm blown away. Last week, I literally spent 3 hours trying to find a very clean copy of that. That is so fucking weird. That is so weird. But it makes sense. I mean, our menstrual cycles are in tune. Number 8 in the top 10. What's your favorite album?
I mean, do we even count these anymore? Are these still things?
There's still things. Things.
All right. I'm gonna say that, like, that second, Fly or Die.
Okay. Yeah, I dig that. I can get with that. Number 9 on the top 10. Name an artist whose output you will consume anything they release and even make excuses for them when it's not good.
Up until 9 months ago, I probably would have said Kanye West.
Yeah. That I literally almost named this the Kanye question, except for it's
right up against. I'll rep for Black Skinhead for no reason. I'll give you all of that.
Yeah.
I'll give you Bound 2. I love me some Bound 2, but like I can't. After these last 9 months, I can't rep.
Randy Major, prepare yourself for a Nate Runkle hot take. Yeezus is the third best Kanye album ever released. So,
yo, that's fuego, bro. That's not a hot take.
That's the hottest. The hottest of takes.
Yikes!
I told you. I told you. Unpopular music opinions are like should have been the name of this podcast. All right.
Yeah.
And the number 10 of the top 10, the final one of this segment. What is your favorite Jawn of all time?
Yo. I mean, I'm going to say, do you remember driving IUP and jamming out to Outkast, Stankonia? Not Stankonia, but The Love Below and Speaker Box, man. And thinking about what the A&Rs would be saying to each other as they listen to this album. It's like the follow-up to the big pop hits and all the stuff they had, and then he's singing about robots at Dracula's wedding. And you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like that, the experience of listening to that album, knowing that nobody wanted it and it worked anyway, that's my Jawn.
Yes.
That's my Jawn.
That is a perfect favorite Jawn. That is perfect. I love it. All right. So final segment, just to wrap things up. These are called the one-hit wonders. You don't have to think hard about them. There's only 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these, 6 one-hit wonders off the dome. Are you ready?
No.
Okay, here we go. You ready? Beatles or the Stones?
Stones.
Good answer. Favorite Beatle? I'm judging. Yeah, I'm judging you.
I'm kidding.
Wrong answer.
Circle.
Wrong answer. Nirvana or Pearl Jam?
Oh, the Jam, baby, the Jam.
Correct answer. Biggie
better
or Tupac?
tune, better talent. Biggie. Oh my gosh.
Correct
don't
answer.
Even take that question out. You have 5 questions now.
Sammy Hagar or David Lee Roth?
Roth.
Yeah. And this one's going to be hard. All right. I'm just going to warn you. This is your final question of the one-hit wonders. Prince or Michael?
Son of a bitch. If you'd asked me before HBO killed my life, but I got to go with Prince.
Yeah.
I do.
I know. Time.
HBO ruined my life.
I know. Time. I know.
I hate them. I hate those 3 letters. I don't use them anymore.
Yeah. Well, Randy, again, I cannot thank you enough for being not just my guest, not just my bandmate, not just my friend, but one of the most important people who has ever existed in my life. I thank you very much for joining us. Please tell these people where they can find yourself and Lost in Paris on the interwebs.
You can find Lost in Paris at LIP Band on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Snapchat. We don't mess with TikTok. I'm grown. You can find me at the Randy Camp on Instagram, Facebook, all your what have you, lostinparisband.com. And Nisper Runkle, I cannot let you go without reminding you of how many artists we had debut at some of our open mics at some of the Kildares around the area, from Masha Roth to other artists, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
Sharon
Little. Special, bro. We were Sharon special. Little as well. Yes.
We were special. And I really think there's so much we didn't talk about. Maybe we'll have to do a second part of this some other time where we just literally talk about all of the ridiculous near hits. And what was the McDonald guy? Not Mike McDonald, Mike McDermott. He was at
McDermott.
Mike McDermott was at ours we didn't even touch upon. We hosted an open mic night in Philly that actually got quality musicians out and stuff like that. We were a thing, Randy. We were a thing. Man. We did something. you know,
Good thing,
and at no point did that I appreciate any of it as it was happening. When it was happening, all I wanted was something else, Randy.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough.
Well, that's the nature of you, brother. That's why I love you, man.
It is the nature.
You've been an inspiration since day one, since you would sit around and you would bring a guitar out at the Beast House and at 10:25 late night, and you would have the whole room captivated with your tunes. And I'm like, yo, that's my guy right there. That's my Jawn. That was the genesis, man.
Look at you staying on brand. I love it. I do appreciate it. Dude, thank you again so much for all of this and for everything forever. And we should play again sometime when you know, people are allowed to coexist in the same place or something.
Yeah, great.
Awesome. All right. That is this interview, and then I'm probably just going to do a closer afterwards, so we don't have to do anything else. Anything else you want to tell these dumb people that are listening to us talk for all this time?
Make sure you keep checking out Yo That's My Jawn. Give him a subscribe, give him a follow.
Oh yeah.
Get on it. Get on him.
Oh yeah. All that. All
Get
that.
on it.
All right, Randy. Thank you so much.
Love you, bro.
Love you too.